Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Spurlock, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. Most of you are probably familiar with me or met me because of this.
Hello, may I help you?
Yeah, could I get the double quarter pounder with cheese meal?
Large or supersize?
I think I'm gonna have to go supersize. Look at that. Look at that Coke. That barely fits in there. Oh, shit. I was gonna, look at that. Look at how big that thing is. Look how big that French fry is. That thing is like 4 feet tall. Double quarter pounder with cheese. More calories than anything. There it is. A little bit of heaven. Mmm. That's a lot of food, man. I'll tell you what. You get all that supersized stuff? That stuff gets supersized? Man, look at that. I just I'm not even halfway done with those fries. Not even halfway. It's like a workout.
I will spare you guys from the rest of that scene. As you know, I did get very ill over the course of this experiment, so much so that my cholesterol skyrocketed, my blood pressure was off the charts, and my liver got so filled with fat that doctors said I was en route to giving myself non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, which is basically like cirrhosis of the liver with fat, much like an alcoholic would get. All of my doctors started telling me I had to quit. You know, they were saying it was exciting in the beginning where you thought this was a lot of fun, but this is a bad idea, you need to quit. So then I started saying, well, you're just 3 doctors. I'll call all my other doctor friends. So I started calling every other doctor I knew, every friend of mine who was a doctor, every doctor who knew a doctor, every doctor who knew a doctor who once talked to a doctor. And all those doctors said, you got to stop. We don't know what's going to happen to you. This is very scary. So I said, all right, those are the doctors. You know what? I'm going to call my mom. Mom always knows best. So I called Mom, told her what all the doctors said. They said, you know, that, Mom, they're afraid. They don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm getting really sick. And she goes, oh, honey, there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. And I said, Mom, that's a line I walk every single day. She said, honey, you know what? You should call your brother. Call your brother, talk to him. My brother, beacon of wisdom that he is, here he is. You know, you all have those older brothers, those fantastic people who've given you advice over the years. You know, my older brother, when I was a child, used to say to me, no, go ahead, jump off the roof, it'll be funny. Good advice. So I called up my brother Craig and I told him what all the doctors had said to me, and he said, Morgan, people eat this shit their whole lives. You think it's gonna kill you in 9 more days? Come on! And he was right. I lived. I made it, all thanks to his great advice and my mom. But that brings up a question. How much risk do we take for how much reward? Where do we draw the line? How do we get to that point? And most importantly, where do we learn it from? For me, I learned it from these 2 people, my mom and dad. Ever since I was a child, they pushed me to not being afraid of going after things that we wanted, to chasing our dreams, to trying to fulfill what we thought were going to make us the best human beings possible. They tried to instill in my brothers and myself this idea that we could accomplish anything, we could try anything. But the biggest thing they never let us do is they would never let us quit. We had to see it through, no matter what it was. And probably the thing that gave us the most amount of courage is, you know, I was growing up in where I grew up in West Virginia. I was the youngest of 3 ballet dancing brothers. Not the cool thing to be doing in West Virginia where I grew up. My oldest brother, Craig, you remember him? There he is. Look at him as a ballet dancer. Yes, that's him again. Hard to believe. But no, where I grew up in the mountains of West Virginia, where coal mining was the #1 form of employment, Ballet dancing, not cool. If anything was going to instill confidence in you, it was that. And so as I started trying to figure out what my next project would be after Supersize Me, I knew I wanted to be something that would continue to push the boundaries, continue to kind of push that idea of risk versus reward. And so I decided to go looking for the most wanted man on the planet. I went to Afghanistan and Pakistan in search of Osama bin Laden. We are going to stop and speak to villagers. So they said I should write my blood type on anything that would be attached to me. Scary as shit, man.
What we're concentrating on is your security. That's it. In a firefight, I'm gonna come to this effect, bring you in, I'm gonna grab you to here. As soon as I do, I'm gonna try and grab you again, as soon as it's safe, and we're gonna move out.
When we go out, we always expect to have contact. We always expect to get shot at. Anything goes out there. You always got to be ready for everything.
This is a somewhat we call a friendly village. Once they understand that it's their choice to go ahead and talk to you, then the American forces will stand back, and then whoever wants to talk to you will talk to you.
Hey Morgan, come on up, let's introduce you.
Yes, sir.
If they want to talk.
دا سړی د امریکا راغلی دا په ملکی سړی ده نو صاحب کومک راغلی امریکا نه غواړي ستاسو خلک سره خبرې وکړي نو مورګن ده.
I was hoping you guys could tell me your thoughts on the Taliban and the current conflict that's happening.
موږ دغه غواړو چې موږ د جنگ نه شوقیان نه د طالب ملګري کوو نه ستاسې ملګري موږ خپل آرامه ژوند غواړو.
What are the things that when you look at your village that you need the most in terms of assistance?
غټ مشکل څه لرو هغه د اوبو مشکل دی چې هغه د اوبو مشکل به موږ نه درلودی خو دلته چې دا کمپاین واړول د برمې ووهلې اوبه یې دغه کاریز لکه داس پیریز تکرار کړه نو دا بل کاریز.
So what do you guys think about Osama bin Laden?
Let's go now! 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 Come on!
They pulled us out of the village as we were right in the middle of a Taliban ambush. What happens after that? One of the Taliban gets killed, they confiscate his motorcycle, and that was part of this film that I made, Where in the World's Osama bin Laden? It was just this past year when they found him. They said, we found him in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and journalists started calling me up. They said, Morgan, what do you think about that? I said, what do I think? I think, you're welcome, President Obama. But actually, what happened out of this movie was an incredible thing, because while we were making this film, we found out my wife was about to have our first child, my son. As you can see, there he is. He looks just like Dad. And while making this film, it became much more of a bigger conversation, not about, like, where is this most wanted man on the planet, but ultimately, what kind of a world am I about to bring a child into? And that's what we're here talking about today, as we're about to reset ourselves and go out into the future, risk versus reward. What do we do? How do I instill in my child the same type of ideals and ideologies that were instilled into me by my parents? This idea of wanting to take a chance, of take a risk. You know, when I started thinking about what I would do next after working on the Osama bin Laden project, I knew I wanted to go back home, back to my home state, back to where I grew up, to find a story that I could tell that would touch a lot of people's lives, that would also be a part of my television series, 30 Days, and can start to open up this conversation of what kind of world we want to live our kids. And that's when I decided to become a coal miner for the next 30 days. And does it just not cut as well?
Yeah, metal. Just ain't hard enough. I'll have it carved by the teeth.
Another day, another chore. This time I'm helping Dally and Ronnie repair the continuous miner.
What? See how your hair's, all this dust is sitting here midair, it's not moving. Fans have been off. Once they're off, we have 15 minutes to evacuate the section.
The fans went off, they had to evacuate the mine, and as I'm running out of the mine, I continue to ask myself, why take such a risk? Why do this to myself? And for me, it ultimately does become that question. What kind of a world are we leaving for the next generation? You know, is taking a risk worth it? Sometimes you're going to get pushed around. Sometimes people are going to say that what you're doing doesn't make sense. But ultimately, for me, I think what we have to realize is that through taking these chances, you might actually succeed. You might win something great. You might make a difference. And while you're walking that fine line between bravery and stupidity, I personally like to always remember what Will Rogers said, which was this: if stupidity got us into this mess, then why can't it get us out? I wish you guys all the best. Thank you so much. It's time to reset. Let's do it. Thank you.